You're probably familiar with those days when motivation is nowhere to be found, and the desire to take action just isn't there. It's easy to let excuses take over and convince yourself that you'll do it tomorrow. But here's the truth. Tomorrow never comes. If you want to succeed, you need to stop waiting for motivation and force yourself to get disciplined. No matter how you feel, discipline isn't a choice. It's a necessity. The good news, you can develop it. The even better news, I'm going to show you how. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can stop making excuses, push past comfort, and start taking consistent action. It's not going to be easy, but the rewards are worth every bit of effort. Stick around, and let's dive into the real strategy behind building discipline and creating a life that's under your control. Number 1, force yourself to take action despite your feelings today. You wake up in the morning and you don't feel like doing anything. You're tired, your bed feels warm, and the weight of the day is already pressing on your chest before it even starts. That feeling is real. But here's the truth. If you only act when you feel like it, your life will stay stuck. Progress doesn't come to those who wait for motivation. It comes to those who act anyway. And that, right there, is the root of discipline. The ability to move, to do, to take action despite how you feel. Discipline starts with doing what you said you would do, long after the excitement is gone. When you made a promise to improve, to build better habits, to chase your goals, you meant it. But now you don't feel like doing it. And here's the test. Will you still do it anyway? You don't need to feel motivated every day. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. It keeps going when the spark dies. You've got goals, you've got dreams, but none of that means anything if your actions don't line up with them. It's easy to dream. It's harder to do. That's why most people stay the same. They wait, they hesitate, they come up with reasons to delay. But you, if you want change, you need to force yourself to act even when you don't feel like it. Discipline isn't a feeling, it's a decision. You get up and you do the work because your future depends on it. You do it tired, you do it frustrated, you do it uncomfortable, because waiting for the perfect mood is a trap. You don't need to feel ready. You need to be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, how badly do you want change? How long have you been stuck in the same cycle, wasting time, wasting chances, promising yourself you'll start tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month, until one day you wake up and realize you've wasted years. You want to break that pattern. Force yourself to take action today, not tomorrow, not when you feel better, today. There's power in doing hard things when you don't want to. That's where your strength is built. Every time you act despite your feelings, you take control back. You prove to yourself that your mind is stronger than your emotions, that you run your life, not your mood, not your excuses, not your habits. That workout you skip because you're tired, that's a vote against your future health. That book you don't read because you're distracted, that's a vote against your growth. That business you delay because you're scared, that's a vote against your freedom. But every time you force yourself to take action, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when you're afraid, you vote for the person you want to become. It's not supposed to be easy, and it's not always supposed to feel good, but that's the whole point. Growth starts the moment comfort ends. If you can learn to act despite your feelings, you unlock a whole different version of yourself. One that follows through, one that doesn't back down, one that doesn't live in regret. Most people don't get there because they let their feelings lead. They say things like, I just don't feel like it right now. That's how dreams die. That's how goals disappear. That's how lives stay stuck. But you have a choice today. You can be different. You can look at the hard thing in front of you, the thing you're avoiding, and say, I'm gonna do it anyway. And you don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to start. Start small if you have to, but start. Take one step, and then another. That's how discipline grows. It's like building a muscle. You lift it once, it hurts. You lift it again, it hurts. But eventually you get stronger. Eventually you stop hesitating. You stop thinking about it. You just do it, because it becomes who you are. And that version of you, the disciplined one, that's the one that builds the life you want. That's the one who finishes what they start, who respects their own time, who doesn't make excuses. That version of you is waiting. But you have to earn it, and you earn it by doing the hard things today. You can't wait for discipline to show up. You create it. You force it. You say no to your comfort. You say yes to your growth. That's where the power is. That's where life starts to change. You're not always going to feel strong. You're not always going to feel motivated. Some days you'll feel tired. Some days you'll feel alone. Some days you'll question if it's even worth it. But on those days, those are the days that matter most, because anyone can show up when it's easy. But real discipline shows up when it's hard. You want to see real change. You want to become the person you keep imagining. You want to stop being stuck, then stop waiting. Start now. Even if you're tired, even if you're scared, even if you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Because that's the line that separates average from great. That's the line that separates talkers from doers. You don't need more time. You don't need more information. You don't need another excuse. You need to act. You need to force yourself to do what matters. Today, people always ask how to stay disciplined. The answer is simple. You make it non-negotiable. You stop treating your goals like options. You stop waiting for motivation to show up. You show up first. You move first. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It just tells you what to do. So get honest. How many times have you said you were going to change? How many times have you made a plan and then ignored it? How many mornings have you stayed in bed when you promised yourself you'd get up? That gap between your words and your actions, that's what's killing your progress. Close the gap. Be who you said you'd be. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent, showing up, doing the work, especially on the hard days, because that's what builds your confidence. That's what earns your self-respect. That's what turns your vision into reality. And nobody else can do it for you. No one's coming to push you out of bed. No one's going to force you to turn off distractions. No one's going to make you chase your goals. That's on you. And that's the best news you could hear, because it means you have all the power. You get to decide who you become. You get to take ownership of your day. You get to say, I'm not living like this anymore, and then prove it with action. You don't need to feel inspired to take action. You just need to decide that today is the day. The day you stop negotiating with yourself. The day you stop looking for the easy path. The day you stop letting your feelings run the show. So stand up, take a deep breath, and do the thing you've been avoiding. Do it even if it's uncomfortable. Do it even if you're tired. Do it even if you're scared. Do it anyway. That's discipline. That's power. That's the way you take your life back. Don't wait another day. Start with one task, one action, one decision. That's how it all begins. That's how you turn your potential into progress. And you do it again tomorrow, and again the day after that. You build a pattern. You build trust with yourself, and you never stop. Force yourself to take action today, because if you don't, you'll keep waiting for a better time. And there is no better time. The time is now. The only way to get disciplined is to start acting disciplined. No more stories, no more excuses, no more waiting. You have the strength. You have the time. You have the ability. All you have to do now is use it. Number 2, commit to consistency even when motivation is missing. You start something new and it feels exciting. That first day, the energy is high. You're focused. You're ready. You feel like nothing can stop you. But then a few days pass. The excitement fades. The feeling disappears. Now you're left with the same goal, but without that emotional push that got you started. And here's the truth. Most people don't want to hear, if you only move when you're motivated, you'll never finish anything meaningful. Real growth begins when the feeling is gone, but you show up anyway. Consistency is boring. That's why most people can't stay consistent. They want every day to feel exciting. They want progress to feel good all the time. But the truth is, it won't. And if you're only chasing the good feelings, you're going to quit every time life gets hard. You'll keep starting over again and again. And every time you restart, you lose momentum. You lose time. You lose belief in yourself. There's nothing magical about the people who succeed. They're not superhuman. They don't have endless energy or motivation. They just made a decision to keep going, even when the fire in their chest went cold. They didn't wait for the perfect conditions. They worked through the chaos, through the silence, through the days that felt empty. Consistency means showing up no matter what. When it's raining, when you're tired, when your mind is full, when your heart's not in it. You show up because the goal matters. You show up because quitting isn't an option. You show up because that version of you you've been dreaming of, confident, focused, disciplined, it's only built through action. not emotion. You need to understand something important. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You've just built the habit of depending on motivation. And motivation is weak. It fades. It disappears the moment life gets difficult. But discipline is a decision. Discipline is built through practice. Discipline is showing up again and again until your actions become automatic. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do it all at once. But you do need to commit. You need to say to yourself, no matter how I feel, I will show up. That decision will change your life. It will separate you from the masses. It will build something inside you that can't be shaken. Think about the things you've started and quit. Think about how many times you said, I'm going to change. And then a few days later you gave up. Was it because the goal didn't matter? No, it's because you were relying on feelings. And feelings come and go. You can't build a better life on something so temporary. You build a better life with systems, with routines, with promises that you don't break. You tell yourself, this is what I do now, and then you do it, no matter what mood you're in. Because every time you keep that promise to yourself, your self-respect grows, your confidence grows, and your identity starts to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who quits. You start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That shift, that internal change, is everything. Because when your identity changes, your life changes. But it doesn't come from watching videos or reading books. It comes from doing the work. Day after day. When no one's watching. When no one's clapping for you. When no one even knows what you're doing. But you do it anyway. And you might think, but it's hard. Of course it's hard. That's the point. You're trying to create a life that most people will never experience. Do you really think it's going to be easy? If it was easy, everyone would do it. But most people give up at the first sign of discomfort. You need to be different. You need to stay consistent through the boredom, through the frustration, through the setbacks. You need to keep showing up even when you feel like nothing's changing. Because things are asterisk changing. You just can't see it yet. Progress is slow. It's silent. It's invisible in the beginning, but it's there. Every rep, every page, every early morning, every late night, it adds up, slowly, quietly, until one day you look in the mirror and you don't recognize yourself in the best way. But you'll never get there if you stop. Every time you're not motivated, you have to keep going. Not just when it's fun, not just when it's new, but especially when it's hard, especially when it feels pointless. That's where growth happens. That's where character is built. You think discipline is hard. You know what's harder? Regret. Looking back a year from now and realizing you're still in the same place. Telling yourself you could have been further, stronger, better, but you gave up. That pain lasts longer than the discomfort of consistency. So choose your hard. You don't need to wait until you feel inspired. You don't need to wait for the right time. The right time is now, not because you feel ready, but because if you don't start now, you'll keep putting it off. And if you keep putting it off, you'll keep living a life that doesn't make you proud. You want more? You want better? Then act like it. Show up like someone who deserves success. Work like someone who's tired of starting over. Move like someone who's hungry for change. That's what consistency looks like. It's not pretty. It's not glamorous. But it works. And here's the best part. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just focus on the next step. That workout you're avoiding. That task you've been putting off. That choice you've been postponing. Do it now. Not perfectly. Just consistently. And when you slip, and you will, that doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. But what matters most is that you come back. You don't let one bad day turn into a bad week. You don't let one misstep turn into quitting. You get up, you reset, you continue. That's what winners do. They keep going. They refuse to let temporary emotions control permanent results. So stop waiting for motivation to push you. Push yourself. Remind yourself why you started. Look at how far you've come. Think about where you could be if you just stay consistent. Think about how different your life could look in 6 months, in a year. Not because you did anything magical, but because you showed up, even when you didn't feel like it. You've got more power than you think. You're capable of more than you believe. But you won't know that until you prove it to yourself. And you prove it by showing up, again and again, until it's no longer a struggle. It's just who you are. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be the smartest. You just need to be the one who doesn't quit. The one who keeps coming back. The one who works in silence and lets the results speak. You'll have days where everything in you wants to stop. That's okay. Feel it, but don't give in to it. Do the work anyway. You'll thank yourself later. You'll look back at the hardest days and realize that's when the change was really happening. Not when it was easy, not when it was fun, but when it was tough and you kept going anyway. And when people ask you how you did it, how you turned your life around, how you stayed so focused, tell them the truth. You committed to consistency. You didn't rely on motivation. You built habits. You showed up even when it was the last thing you wanted to do. That's it. That's the secret. So if you're tired of falling off track, tired of restarting, tired of feeling stuck, it's time to make a real decision. Not a wish, not a maybe, a decision. That no matter how you feel, you will show up. That no matter what happens, you won't stop. That your actions will speak louder than your moods. That's what separates the average from the unstoppable. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's consistency. Relentless, disciplined consistency. Not for one day, not for 1 week, but until the job is done. Start today. Keep going tomorrow. And don't stop until you become the person you promised yourself you'd be. Number 3, break the cycle of excuses and push past comfort. You've heard the excuses. You've used them yourself. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. It's too hard. These are the stories you tell yourself to stay comfortable, to stay in the same place. The truth is, comfort is a trap. It feels safe. It feels easy, but it's the very thing that's holding you back from your best life. If you want to move forward, you have to break the cycle. You have to push past the comfort that keeps you stuck and force yourself to act, even when every part of you wants to quit. You've been here before, haven't you? Stuck in the same pattern, the same routine. You start something, and for a while, it feels great. You're excited. You've got energy. But then, without fail, the excuses start. Life gets in the way. It's too hard. You're too tired. And before you know it, your progress is gone. You tell yourself you'll start again tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. This is the cycle that's holding you back, and it's time to break it. What you need to understand is that excuses are just comfort in disguise. They're your mind's way of keeping you safe. They tell you that staying where you are is okay, that you don't need to challenge yourself, that you don't need to risk failure. But what those excuses don't tell you is that while you're staying in your comfort zone, the world is moving forward without you. Comfort doesn't build the life you want. Comfort keeps you small. Comfort keeps you in a cage of your own making. And the longer you stay there, the more you let these excuses run your life, the more you lose sight of your potential. Your dreams start to fade. Your goals start to feel impossible. And you start to feel like maybe you're just not meant for something bigger. But that's not true. You are meant for something bigger. And the only thing stopping you is your own willingness to stay in the comfort zone. It's time to make a decision. You can keep making excuses, keep staying comfortable, and keep feeling frustrated when nothing changes. Or you can break the cycle. You can start pushing past the easy path and walk the hard road. It won't be comfortable. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. The first thing you need to realize is that the excuses aren't true. They're not real. They're just stories. Stories you've told yourself so many times that you've started to believe them. I don't have time. Who has time? Everyone is busy. But guess what? Successful people aren't just people who have time. They're people who make time. They make it a priority. They wake up earlier, stay up later, sacrifice things that don't matter for things that do. They know that time is the most precious resource they have, so they don't waste it. I'm too tired. Everyone's tired, but tired is just a feeling, and feelings don't determine your future. It's easy to let tiredness be an excuse, but think about this. Successful people don't wait for the perfect moment when they feel energized. They get up and do the work, even when they're exhausted, because they know that getting started is often the hardest part. Once they push past the initial resistance, they find the energy to keep going. I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't exist. It's always out of reach. That's the trap. If you keep telling yourself you'll start tomorrow, tomorrow will never come. The only time you have is right now, this moment. So stop waiting. Stop thinking you'll do it later. If you're serious about making a change, you need to act now, right now, today. Because the longer you wait, the more you reinforce the cycle of excuses and the further away your goals move. It's too hard. If it were easy, everyone would do it. And if it were easy, it wouldn't be worth doing. The hard things in life are the ones that create real change. If you want something more, you have to be willing to push past the resistance, push past the challenge, and push past the discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when you're willing to face the hard things and keep going despite them. The next step is to confront the truth. Your comfort zone is the enemy of progress. When you choose comfort over effort, you're choosing to stay where you are. But if you want something more, something better, you need to make discomfort your ally. Discomfort is where growth happens. Discomfort is where you start to transform. It's where you begin to build new habits, new strength, new capabilities. The more you push past your comfort zone, the bigger your potential becomes. This isn't just about physical effort, it's about mental and emotional effort too. The hardest battles you'll face are the ones in your mind. Your mind will try to convince you that you're not good enough, that you're too tired, that you're too old, that you don't have the skills. Your mind will try to make you believe that staying comfortable is the safest and smartest option. But if you listen to that voice, you'll stay stuck forever. The key to breaking the cycle of excuses is to take control of your thoughts. You have to choose to think differently. You have to remind yourself that excuses are just temporary roadblocks. They're not permanent truths. You are stronger than your excuses. You are more powerful than your fears. But you won't realize that until you start pushing against them. The moment you break the cycle of excuses, you'll start to experience freedom. You'll start to see that all those things you've been avoiding, all those things you've been making excuses for, are actually within your reach. And as you begin to push past your comfort zone and take action, you'll start to build momentum, and momentum is a powerful thing. It propels you forward. It makes the hard things easier. It turns your goals from distant dreams into achievable realities. But here's the thing, momentum doesn't just happen. You have to create it. You have to commit to the process. You have to choose to act, even when you don't feel like it. Even when the excuses are screaming at you. And when you do, you'll find that the work doesn't feel as hard. The resistance doesn't feel as strong, because you've trained your mind to see discomfort as a sign of growth, not a reason to stop. If you want to change your life, if you want to build something meaningful, you have to break the cycle of excuses and push past the comfort zone. It's not going to be easy, but nothing worth having ever is. The first step is the hardest, but once you make that commitment to act despite your excuses, you'll find that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. And the truth is, there is no magic moment where everything becomes easy. There's no one moment where you'll feel completely ready, completely motivated, and completely confident. You have to create that moment. You have to show up. You have to push past the fear, the doubt, and the discomfort. You have to do it anyway. Because that's where your power lies. The life you want is on the other side of your excuses. Your best self is waiting for you, but you have to make the decision to stop making excuses and start taking action. It's time to break the cycle. It's time to push past your comfort zone. It's time to become the person you were always meant to be. The only thing standing between you and that future is your willingness to face your excuses and do the work anyway. Number 4, train your mind to embrace discipline over instant gratification. We live in a world where instant gratification is the norm. We want things now. We want results fast. And why wouldn't we? We've got smartphones that give us answers in seconds. We've got apps that deliver food, products, and even entertainment in the blink of an eye. It's all too easy to fall into the trap of wanting everything immediately. But here's the problem. The more you indulge in instant gratification, the further you get from achieving long-term success. The key to building a life of purpose, growth, and discipline is learning to embrace delayed gratification. It's time to train your mind to choose discipline over fleeting pleasures. The reason why most people never reach their full potential is because they give in to instant gratification. It feels good in the moment. It's easy. you don't have to wait for it. But here's the harsh truth. What feels good now will often cost you later. Those small decisions to take the shortcut, to avoid the discomfort, to choose the easy route, they add up. And eventually, they add up to a life that's less than what you could have had. Think about it for a moment. Every time you choose to skip the gym, eat that extra dessert, or binge watch another episode of your favorite show, instead of working on your goals, you're trading your long-term success for short-term pleasure. You're telling yourself that the immediate satisfaction is more important than the long-term benefits. But let me tell you something, that immediate pleasure is temporary, and it fades fast. The results you get from choosing discipline, however, are lasting. They accumulate. And over time, they shape your life in ways that instant gratification never could. Now, I know this is difficult. It's hard to resist the pull of the immediate. It's hard to say no when everything around you is telling you to indulge, to give in, to take the easy way out. But the reality is this, if you can't delay gratification now, you'll never get to experience the rewards that come with hard work and dedication. So how do you train your mind to embrace discipline over instant gratification? It starts with understanding the true cost of giving in to the moment. Every time you choose to avoid doing the hard work, you're telling your future self that they're not worth the effort. You're saying that the pain of now is too much to handle, and that the future is not as important as the pleasure of today. But if you want to create something meaningful in your life, whether that's a successful business, a healthy body, or strong relationships, you have to shift your focus. You have to decide that your future is more important than the fleeting pleasures of today. You have to decide that discipline, consistency, and delayed gratification will be your tools for success. The first step is simple. Recognize the pattern. Take a moment to really pay attention to when you're giving in to instant gratification. Is it when you're feeling tired, stressed, or bored? Are you using distractions as a way to avoid discomfort? Are you seeking out short-term pleasure to fill a void? The more aware you become of the times when you're choosing comfort over discipline, the easier it will be to break the cycle. But awareness alone isn't enough. You need to change the way you think about discipline. Instead of seeing it as something restrictive, see it as a form of freedom. Discipline gives you the power to control your life. It gives you the ability to make decisions that align with your goals. It's the foundation of success. It's the ability to say no to what doesn't serve you, and yes to what will propel you forward. In a world where we're constantly bombarded by distractions, it's easy to get caught up in the immediate. But what if you started viewing discipline as your greatest ally? What if you stopped seeing it as a burden and started seeing it as a tool that unlocks the door to everything you truly want? Discipline is what allows you to do what's hard now so you can enjoy what's great later. The next step is to break the habit of instant gratification by making small, intentional changes. If you're used to indulging in every craving or desire that comes your way, start by setting clear boundaries for yourself. Commit to saying no to immediate pleasures in favor of long-term rewards. For example, instead of reaching for that snack when you're bored, choose to drink a glass of water or go for a walk. Instead of mindlessly scrolling through your phone, choose to spend that time working on a goal, reading, or improving a skill. Start with one area of your life where you can practice discipline and slowly build from there. As you begin to choose discipline over instant gratification, you'll start to notice something incredible happening. Your confidence will grow. Your self-respect will increase. You'll start to feel proud of yourself for making decisions that are in alignment with your goals. Every small act of discipline will reinforce your belief in yourself. You'll begin to trust yourself more, and as you do, you'll gain the momentum needed to push through the harder days. But there will be days when it's difficult. There will be moments when the pull of instant gratification feels too strong to resist. On those days, remind yourself of the bigger picture. Remind yourself of the life you want to create. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work, even when you'd rather do something else. In fact, it's on the days when you don't feel like doing anything that discipline matters most. On those days, your decision to push through will determine whether you stay on track or fall off. Discipline isn't about avoiding all temptation. It's about choosing what matters most, even when it's hard. The more you practice delaying gratification, the more natural it will become. Your brain will begin to rewire itself. It will start to recognize that hard work and delayed pleasure are not only necessary for success, but they are actually more rewarding than instant satisfaction. Your body and mind will begin to crave the feeling of accomplishment, of earning your rewards, rather than having them handed to you. This doesn't mean you should deny yourself pleasure altogether. It's about finding balance, enjoying your life, but learning to say no to the things that aren't aligned with your long-term goals. It's about enjoying the process, not just the end result. The rewards that come from discipline are far greater than the ones you get from giving in to the moment. If you want to be successful, you have to stop living for now. You have to start living for later. Discipline is what separates those who live in the moment from those who build the life they've always dreamed of. It's what separates those who struggle to make progress from those who achieve greatness. It's time to stop giving in to every impulse and start choosing the hard path, the one that leads to true fulfillment. It's time to train your mind to embrace discipline over instant gratification. Start small. Start now. And remember, the true rewards are always worth the wait. The life you want is waiting for you on the other side of discipline. Embrace it and watch your world transform. Number 5. Demand progress every single day without compromise. Progress is not something that happens overnight. It's not something you can just wish into existence. It's something you have to demand from yourself every single day without compromise. Every day you have a choice to make. You can either accept where you are, let the days slip by, and let time pass without any real change. Or you can demand progress, insist on it, and make it happen regardless of the challenges, distractions, or setbacks that come your way. The choice is yours, and it's a choice that you make every day. If you're serious about building the life you want, about reaching your full potential, about creating something that matters, you have to make progress your non-negotiable. You have to wake up every morning with a clear intention to move forward, even if it's just one step. Because the truth is, no matter how small the progress seems, it's still progress. And over time, those small steps add up to massive transformation. But here's the thing. Most people don't demand progress every day. They make excuses. They say, "I'll work harder tomorrow. I'm too tired today. I've been doing well. I deserve a break." And in the short term, it feels like a good excuse. It feels like you've earned the right to slack off, to take it easy. But what happens when you let yourself off the hook today? You set a precedent. You tell yourself that you don't have to keep pushing. You start to let the momentum slip. And once that happens, it becomes harder to pick it back up. The reality is that you're either making progress or you're stagnating. There's no in between. You can't afford to stand still, to wait for the perfect moment, to hope that things will improve without any effort. Progress requires consistent action. It requires showing up, even when it's difficult, even when you don't feel like it, even when the road is tough. Because here's the truth. Success doesn't care how you feel. It only cares whether or not you take action. It only cares whether you're committed to demanding progress every single day. But demanding progress doesn't mean you have to make massive leaps every day. It's about consistent, focused effort. It's about making sure that each day, no matter what, you're moving forward. Even if it's just a little bit. Even if you feel exhausted. Even if you feel like giving up. Progress doesn't need perfection. It just needs effort. It needs commitment. And it needs to be constant. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that progress is only measured by big accomplishments. They think that if they're not achieving something huge, something visible, something measurable, then they're not making progress. But the truth is, progress is often incremental. It's the small, consistent steps that lead to the big breakthroughs. It's showing up every day, even when no one is watching, even when it seems like nothing is happening. That's where the magic happens. Progress is built on the foundation of persistence. If you want to demand progress every day, you have to get rid of the idea that you need to feel motivated to take action. Motivation is fleeting. It's unreliable. Some days you'll wake up feeling inspired and ready to take on the world. Other days you won't feel like doing anything at all. But progress isn't about waiting for motivation to strike. It's about building a system, a routine, and a mindset that forces you to take action, regardless of how you feel. It's about creating habits that drive you forward, even when your emotions or external circumstances aren't on your side. This is where discipline comes in. Discipline is the tool that makes progress non-negotiable. It's the habit of showing up, doing the work, and sticking to your commitments, even when it's tough. Discipline doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't care about how hard the task feels. It's the force that pushes you forward when everything else is trying to pull you back. And when you build discipline, progress becomes a matter of course. It becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it. You just do it. But to build that discipline, you have to be willing to embrace discomfort. Because here's the thing. Progress doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It doesn't happen when you're lounging around, waiting for inspiration. It happens when you're uncomfortable, when you're doing things that challenge you, when you're pushing yourself beyond what feels easy or familiar. That's where growth happens. Every day you have to be willing to embrace the discomfort that comes with progress. You have to be willing to feel the resistance, to face the obstacles, and to keep moving forward anyway. Because discomfort is the signal that you're growing. It's the proof that you're on the right track. It's the reminder that progress is never easy, but it's always worth it. Now, I know that it's not always easy to keep demanding progress when life gets in the way. There will be days when you're tired, when things don't go as planned, when setbacks occur. But let me tell you something. Those are the moments that matter most. Those are the moments that define whether or not you will truly succeed. Will you quit when things get hard, or will you push through? Will you allow yourself to make excuses, or will you make progress? No matter how small. If you want to succeed, you have to be willing to demand progress every single day. No exceptions. You can't afford to let a single day slip by without doing something to move you closer to your goals, even on the tough days, even when it's inconvenient, even when you don't feel like it. Because those small actions, those seemingly insignificant steps forward, are what will eventually lead you to the breakthrough you've been waiting for. The key is consistency. Progress doesn't happen all at once. It happens over time. And the only way to make sure you're always moving forward is to commit to taking action every day, without fail. You need to establish the habit of demanding progress, even if that progress is slow. Slow progress is still progress. Stagnation is the real enemy. The moment you stop moving forward, you start slipping backwards. And before you know it, the momentum you worked so hard to build is gone. So how do you ensure you're demanding progress every day? You start by setting clear goals. You need to know exactly what you're working towards. Without clear goals, it's easy to get distracted, to lose focus, and to let days slip by without making any real progress. Once you know what you want to achieve, break it down into smaller, manageable tasks, and then commit to working on those tasks every single day, even if it's just for a short time, even if it feels insignificant. The key is that you're consistently moving forward. Another important aspect of demanding progress is accountability. You need to hold yourself accountable. It's easy to let yourself slide when no one is watching. But the truth is, you can't afford to slack off. You're the only one who can push yourself to take action, to keep going, and to stay consistent. You need to develop the mental toughness to push through on the days when you don't feel like it. And you need to stay committed to your vision, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Progress is built on the small, everyday decisions you make. It's about choosing action over inaction, movement over stagnation, growth over comfort. Every single day, you're either getting closer to your goals or further away from them. The choice is yours. So demand progress. Demand it every day, without compromise. Keep pushing. Keep moving forward. And over time, you'll see the results of your dedication. You'll see how the small steps you take today add up to massive success tomorrow. Keep going. Your future self will thank you. Number 6, conquer procrastination. By starting immediately with full effort. Procrastination. It's something we all deal with. The act of putting off what needs to be done, choosing distraction over productivity, and finding a million reasons to avoid what we know we should be doing. But here's the reality. Procrastination is a silent killer of potential. It holds you back. It steals your time. It robs you of your future. And if you want to build the life you deserve, you need to conquer it. But how? The answer is simple. Start immediately and give it your full effort. That's it. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the right mood, or the perfect set of circumstances. You don't need motivation to start. You just need to start. And when you start, give it everything you've got. Don't hold back. Don't tell yourself that you'll ease into it or that you'll do it later. The time to act is now. The time to give your best is now. We've all heard the saying, "I'll do it tomorrow." And we've all convinced ourselves that we'll get to it eventually. But here's the problem with that thinking. Tomorrow never comes. We keep pushing things off, thinking that we'll feel more motivated or that we'll be in a better place to tackle the task. But guess what happens? Tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next month. And before you know it, that thing you kept putting off is still hanging over you. It's like a weight, always there, always nagging at you. And the longer you let it sit, the harder it becomes to start. So how do you break this cycle? You do it by committing to immediate action. The moment you catch yourself procrastinating, take control. Stop right there and start doing something. Anything. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the final version of whatever you're working on. Just begin. Take that first step. Open the document. Write the first sentence. Make the first phone call. Take the first action, no matter how small it seems. The key is to give yourself no room for excuses. Once you start, you'll find that it's much easier to keep going. That's the magic of momentum. It's harder to stop once you've started than it is to keep going. So the goal is to start immediately with full energy and commitment, and then let that momentum carry you forward. Every single moment you delay is a moment you waste. Every minute you spend making excuses is a minute you'll never get back. And let me tell you something, that time is precious. It's your most valuable asset. One of the biggest hurdles when it comes to procrastination is fear. Fear of failure, fear of doing something wrong, fear of not being good enough. But here's the thing, perfection doesn't exist. The only way to get better, to improve, is by taking action. It's by putting yourself out there, making mistakes, learning and growing. If you wait for the perfect time, you'll be waiting forever. And in the meantime, the opportunity to take action, to make progress, will slip right through your fingers. When you stop procrastinating and start with full effort, you are taking control of your life. You are no longer allowing fear to hold you back. You are no longer giving in to the temptation of distraction. You are choosing growth, choosing success, and choosing your future. And that choice is powerful. But here's the kicker. Starting immediately doesn't just mean jumping into work without thinking. It means fully committing to the task at hand and giving it everything you have. No half-hearted attempts, no half-assed effort. Give it your full attention, your full focus, and your full energy. When you commit to giving your best, you're not just tackling the task, you're setting the standard for yourself. You're telling yourself that you are capable of doing great things, and that you are not afraid of putting in the work. Let me break this down for you. Procrastination is a habit. It's something you've conditioned yourself to do over time. But just like any habit, it can be broken. The way to break it is by creating a new habit, one that starts with immediate action. Every time you feel that urge to procrastinate, stop and take action. Don't wait for the motivation to show up, because it won't. Motivation comes after action, not before. You don't wait for inspiration to hit, you create it by taking that first step. And once you take that first step, you'll find that your mind starts to shift. You'll feel the momentum building, the energy flowing, and you'll begin to see progress. The more you do this, the more it becomes a part of who you are. You'll no longer be someone who procrastinates. You'll be someone who takes action. And let's talk about the role of discipline here. Discipline is what keeps you going when the excitement fades, when the initial burst of energy wanes. Discipline is the ability to keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's the willingness to do the hard things, even when they're uncomfortable. Discipline is what transforms good intentions into lasting results. So when you start immediately with full effort, you're not just defeating procrastination, you're also building discipline. And discipline is the key to long-term success. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but I don't have the energy to start right now, or I don't feel like I can give my best. And that's okay. You don't always have to feel motivated. You don't always have to feel inspired. You just have to start. Once you start, the energy will come. Once you start, the clarity will come. It's the action that drives everything. The more you do, the more you'll feel like doing. It's a cycle of productivity that feeds itself. Think about the most successful people you know. Do they wait for motivation to hit them? No, they don't sit around hoping for the perfect time to take action. They start immediately, and they give their full effort every single day. That's how they've gotten to where they are. That's how they've built their success. It wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It was the result of consistent, deliberate action, taken day after day, without exception. Now imagine your life if you started to take immediate action on everything that you've been putting off. Imagine how much progress you'd make if you stopped waiting for the right time and started working towards your goals right now, with full energy and commitment. Imagine the results. Imagine how much better you'd feel. Imagine the sense of accomplishment that would come from seeing your goals get closer and closer every single day. That's the power of conquering procrastination. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating the moment by taking action. The moment you start, the moment you give it your full effort, you begin to break the cycle of procrastination. You start building momentum. You start building discipline, and you start building the life you want. So here's the challenge. The next time you feel the urge to procrastinate, stop and take action. Don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Start immediately and give it everything you've got. The more you do this, the less you'll procrastinate, and the more you'll achieve. Your future self will thank you for it. Number 7, eliminate distractions and focus fully on your goals. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. They're not just external, but internal as well. From the constant buzz of notifications on your phone to the endless streams of thoughts running through your head, it's easy to see how staying focused can become a real challenge. But here's the thing. Distractions are a choice. They are a choice that we make when we allow ourselves to be pulled away from what truly matters. And if you want to reach your full potential, if you want to achieve your goals and live a life of purpose, you have to learn how to eliminate those distractions and focus fully on what truly matters. The first step in eliminating distractions is recognizing that they are stealing your time, your energy, and your ability to focus on your goals. Time is our most precious resource, and once it's gone, we can't get it back. Every moment you spend being distracted is a moment you'll never recover. Think about that for a second. Every second you spend checking your phone, scrolling through social media, or letting your mind wander, you're giving away a part of your future. You're giving away your dreams, your progress, and your success. And if you don't take control of that, you'll keep giving more and more of yourself away until you look back and realize you've wasted precious time. To succeed, to make real progress, you have to learn to focus. You have to learn to put your attention on the things that matter most. That means getting rid of anything that isn't aligned with your goals. It means eliminating the distractions, both big and small, that are pulling your attention away from your purpose. The good news is that this is entirely within your control. You are the one who decides what you focus on. You are the one who decides what gets your attention. One of the biggest distractions in today's world is technology. Phones, computers, social media, they all steal our time, and they often steal our focus as well. Every notification, every ping, every message is designed to pull you away from your task and get your attention. And while technology can be useful, it's essential to recognize when it's becoming a distraction. If you're serious about achieving your goals, you need to make a conscious decision to limit your exposure to distractions. Put your phone on silent or turn it off when you need to focus. Turn off notifications, close irrelevant apps, and create an environment where your attention is fully on the task at hand. You'd be amazed at how much more productive you can be when you simply remove these distractions from your environment. But technology isn't the only distraction. There are internal distractions as well. Thoughts, doubts, and fears that can pull you away from your goals. These are often the hardest to deal with because they come from within. You might find yourself thinking about something that's bothering you, worrying about the future, or questioning your abilities. These thoughts can be incredibly distracting, and they can drain your energy. But here's the secret. You don't have to follow every thought that pops into your head. You don't have to give attention to every worry or fear. You can acknowledge those thoughts, but then choose to redirect your focus back to what truly matters. It takes practice, but over time, you can train your mind to focus on the things that move you closer to your goals. The key to eliminating distractions is being intentional about where you put your attention. It's about being deliberate with your time and your energy. It's about recognizing when something is pulling you off track and making a conscious decision to redirect your focus. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. You will still get distracted from time to time. But what matters is that you're aware of it and that you make the effort to get back on course. This is where self-discipline comes in. It's the ability to keep your attention on your goals, even when there are 1,000 other things trying to pull you away. One of the most powerful ways to stay focused is to set clear, specific goals. When you know exactly what you're working towards, it becomes easier to ignore distractions. Think about it. When you have a clear vision of what you want, it's easier to say no to things that don't align with that vision. You're more willing to sacrifice short-term pleasures for long-term success, because you understand the importance of staying focused on your goals. The more specific and tangible your goals are, the more motivated you'll be to stay on track. Another way to eliminate distractions is to create a structured routine. When you have a clear schedule and a plan for how you'll spend your time, it's much easier to stay focused. Instead of reacting to whatever comes your way, you're proactively directing your attention towards what's important. A structured routine helps you stay organized, reduces decision fatigue, and ensures that you're consistently moving forward. When you know exactly what you need to do, and when you need to do it, there's less room for distractions to creep in. But here's something important to remember. Staying focused isn't about being rigid or obsessive. It's about balance. Yes, you need to put your attention on your goals, but you also need to make sure you're taking care of your mental and emotional well-being. Distractions aren't just external. They can also come from the pressure we put on ourselves. If you're constantly stressed, overworked, or burned out, your ability to focus will suffer. That's why it's essential to make time for rest and relaxation. When you take care of your body and mind, you'll find it easier to stay focused when it's time to work. Now let's talk about the power of saying no. In a world full of distractions and opportunities, it's easy to say yes to everything. We want to please people. We want to take advantage of every opportunity, and we don't want to miss out. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Every time you take on a new project, a new responsibility, or a new commitment, you're taking time and energy away from your most important goals. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful ways to stay focused. When you say no to things that aren't aligned with your goals, you're saying yes to your future. You're saying yes to the things that truly matter. And when you make that a habit, you'll find that you have more time, more energy, and more focus to put towards your goals. Staying focused isn't just about avoiding distractions. It's about being fully engaged in the task at hand. It's about giving your best effort every single time. When you focus fully on your goals, you stop just going through the motions. You stop doing things half-heartedly. You start giving everything you've got, because you understand that every moment is an opportunity to move closer to your dreams. So what does it take to truly eliminate distractions and stay focused on your goals? It takes awareness. It takes discipline. It takes a clear vision of what you want, and a willingness to sacrifice what doesn't align with that vision. It takes setting boundaries, saying no, and creating a routine that allows you to stay on track. And most importantly, it takes commitment. You have to commit to staying focused, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when distractions are everywhere. Remember, every moment you waste on distractions is a moment you'll never get back. Every minute spent scrolling through your phone, watching random videos, or letting your mind wander is a minute you could have used to move closer to your goals. Time is the one thing you can't get more of, so make every moment count. Eliminate distractions, focus fully on your goals, and take massive action towards the life you want to create. Number 8, own your choices and accept responsibility for results. You cannot move forward in life without owning your choices. We live in a world where it's easier than ever to point fingers, to place blame, to make excuses, and to avoid responsibility for where we are. But the truth is, if you want to be successful, if you want to achieve your dreams, you have to take full ownership of your decisions and the results they bring. You cannot expect to move ahead in life if you're constantly looking for someone or something else to blame for your failures or setbacks. Every decision you make, big or small, has consequences, and you are responsible for those consequences. If things go well, take the credit, but if things don't work out, it's still on you. And that's where true power lies. It's easy to sit back and blame others for your struggles. It's easy to make excuses about the circumstances or the people who've held you back. But when you take full responsibility for your life, you unlock the ability to change, to grow, and to start shaping the future you want. When you own your choices, you stop playing the victim. You stop waiting for someone to come along and make things better for you. You stop looking for excuses. You stop telling yourself stories about how things aren't fair or how you were dealt a bad hand. Instead, you realize that you have the power to make choices and take action. You realize that no matter where you start, no matter the circumstances, you can make a different choice today, and that choice can change everything. Here's the thing. It's not enough to just acknowledge that you are responsible for your choices. You have to fully accept it. You have to accept that every outcome in your life is the result of something you've done or not done. The good, the bad, and everything in between. This is your creation. And when you truly accept this, it's liberating. It's empowering. It means that no matter where you are today, no matter how far you think you've fallen, you can turn it around. But only if you take responsibility. Responsibility is not a burden, it's a privilege. It's the key that unlocks your ability to change, to grow, to create a better future for yourself. You have the power to choose, and every time you make a choice, you're shaping the person you're going to become and the life you're going to live. If you're unhappy with where you are, the good news is that you have the power to change that. It starts with owning the choices you've made up until now and making better ones from this point forward. This means that when things don't go as planned, you don't point the finger at external factors. You don't make excuses. You don't say it's because of this person or it's because of that situation. Instead, you ask yourself, what can I do differently? What choice can I make right now to move forward? The truth is, there's always something you can do to change your situation. But you have to start by taking ownership of where you are. We've all heard the phrase, you are where you are because of the choices you've made. And it's true. Think about it. Every single thing you've experienced in your life, every win, every loss, every setback has come as a result of choices you've made in the past. You chose to take that job. You chose to invest in that relationship. You chose to pursue that path, or you chose to ignore that opportunity. These choices, big and small, have shaped your life, and you are the sum of those decisions. But here's where it gets interesting. Now that you know this, you also have the power to make new choices that will create a different reality for you. It's time to stop waiting for things to change or for the stars to align. It's time to stop waiting for the perfect conditions to start making progress. The perfect conditions don't exist. The perfect time will never come. The only time you have is right now. The only person responsible for your success is you. And when you fully accept that, you become unstoppable. You realize that everything you've done up until this point is simply a reflection of the choices you've made. And if you're not happy with where you are, you can change it. I know it's not always easy. Sometimes we're faced with challenges that seem insurmountable. Sometimes we make mistakes, and those mistakes hurt. But even in those moments, even when things aren't going our way, we have a choice. We can choose to learn from those mistakes, to grow, to use them as stepping stones to move forward. Or we can choose to stay stuck in blame, shame, and regret. The choice is always yours. When you own your choices, you also take full responsibility for the results. This means that if things don't go as planned, you don't make excuses or look for someone else to blame. You look in the mirror and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I adjust my approach? What can I do differently next time? Taking responsibility for the results you're getting is the most powerful thing you can do. It's how you learn, grow, and ultimately achieve success. It's also important to understand that taking responsibility doesn't mean beating yourself up over past mistakes. It doesn't mean being hard on yourself or holding yourself back with guilt or shame. Taking responsibility simply means recognizing that you have the power to change. It means acknowledging that you are the creator of your reality and that your past doesn't define your future. You are not the mistakes you've made. You are the choices you make moving forward. The more you own your choices and accept responsibility for your results, the more control you have over your life. You become empowered to take action, to make changes, and to move toward the future you want. You stop waiting for permission or looking for validation. You stop relying on others to fix your problems or make things happen for you. You take full ownership of your life, and you move forward with confidence, knowing that you are the one in the driver's seat. When you start owning your choices, you'll notice that you start making better decisions. You'll start taking more deliberate, intentional actions that align with your goals and your values. You'll stop procrastinating. You'll stop hesitating. And you'll start moving forward with purpose. And the more you own your choices, the more you'll realize that the results you're getting are simply a reflection of the decisions you've made. If you want different results, make different choices. But here's the secret. Owning your choices is not just about your actions. It's also about your mindset. It's about taking full responsibility for the way you think, the way you respond to challenges, and the way you handle obstacles. It's about choosing to think positively, to stay focused on your goals, and to believe in your ability to succeed. When you take responsibility for your mindset, you take control of your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. And when you take control of those things, you take control of your future. You can't change the past, but you can control what happens from here on out. And that control comes from owning your choices and accepting responsibility for your results. The moment you realize that you are the one in charge of your life is the moment you unlock your true potential. You stop being a passive observer of your life, and you become an active participant in shaping your future. So take ownership of your choices today. Own your decisions, take responsibility for your results, and start creating the life you've always wanted. The power is in your hands, and it always has been. It's time to stop looking for excuses, stop blaming others, and stop waiting for things to change. It's time to take responsibility and start taking action. Because when you own your choices, you own your life, and that's where true success begins. Number 9. Prioritize discipline over temporary pleasure to build success. You've heard it before, and I'll say it again. Success requires discipline. It's not an overnight thing. It's not about taking shortcuts or chasing instant gratification. Success doesn't come to those who seek comfort and temporary pleasures. It comes to those who are willing to sacrifice short-term enjoyment for long-term rewards. And I get it. We live in a world where pleasure is everywhere, and it's easy to get distracted. But if you want something real, something lasting, you have to make the choice to prioritize discipline over the things that feel good in the moment, but won't serve you in the long run. Discipline is the foundation of success. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the ability to do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up every day, even when you're tattered, even when you're tempted to give in, even when things aren't going the way you want. It's about sticking to your path and staying focused on your goals, no matter what. The problem is, many of us are driven by the desire for instant pleasure. We want what feels good right now, whether it's indulging in unhealthy food, binge-watching TV, scrolling through social media, or procrastinating on work. These things provide immediate gratification, but they don't lead to anything meaningful. They give us a temporary high, but the satisfaction fades, and we're left with nothing but the guilt of knowing we didn't do what we should have. It's easy to get caught in the trap of instant gratification, and trust me, I've been there. But the truth is, you can't build anything of substance by constantly chasing short-term pleasure. If you want to build success, you need to prioritize the actions that lead to growth, even if they aren't the easiest or the most fun. You need to embrace discipline over momentary enjoyment. It's not that there's anything wrong with enjoying life and having fun. Life is about balance. But when you make discipline a priority, you make the decision to pursue your long-term goals, instead of getting distracted by the fleeting pleasures that keep you from reaching them. You begin to see the value in doing the hard things today for a better tomorrow. You recognize that your future self will thank you for the discipline you put in today, even if your present self doesn't feel like it. One of the most powerful things about discipline is that it compounds over time. Small, consistent actions, done day after day, add up to big results. But when you give in to the temptation of temporary pleasure, you lose momentum. You start falling behind, and before you know it, you're stuck in a cycle of procrastination, guilt, and regret. But when you stick with discipline, even on the tough days, you're moving forward, you're making progress, and it all adds up. Think about it like this. Every time you choose discipline over pleasure, you're putting a brick in the foundation of your success. Every time you wake up early to work on your goals, every time you say no to distractions, every time you stay focused, you're building the life you want. And while those temporary pleasures may feel good in the moment, they won't build anything lasting. The satisfaction from binge watching TV or eating that extra piece of cake is short-lived. But the sense of pride and fulfillment you get from staying disciplined, from doing the work when you don't feel like it, lasts far longer. Building success is about delayed gratification. It's about understanding that what you do today may not give you immediate results, but it will pay off in the long run. And this requires a shift in mindset. You have to stop thinking about what feels good right now and start thinking about what will help you grow, what will get you closer to your dreams. You have to start prioritizing the things that matter over the things that don't. The things that will push you forward, not the things that will hold you back. This doesn't mean that you can't enjoy life or have fun along the way. Of course you can. But you need to understand that there's a time for discipline and a time for relaxation. The problem arises when relaxation becomes a constant excuse for avoiding the work you need to do. When you give in to every temptation, when you let every distraction pull you off course, that's when the problem starts. Because when you let one distraction take over, it's easier for the next one to creep in. And before you know it, weeks, months, even years have gone by, and you're still in the same place. This is why discipline is so important. It helps you stay on track. It helps you stay focused. It helps you avoid the distractions that would otherwise pull you away from your goals. And here's the best part. When you make discipline a habit, it gets easier over time. It becomes part of who you are. You don't have to fight with yourself to stay disciplined. It just becomes second nature. But here's the key. You have to make the choice. Every single day you have to choose discipline over pleasure. You have to choose your long-term success over the short-term distractions. You have to choose the hard work today for the rewards tomorrow. It's not always easy. There will be days when you want to give up. There will be days when the couch and the remote seem more inviting than the gym or your to-do list. But in those moments you have to remind yourself that your future self will thank you for pushing through. Every time you choose discipline, you're one step closer to where you want to be. Discipline is the ultimate form of self-respect. It's a way of showing yourself that you value your goals, your dreams, and your future. It's about recognizing that you are worthy of success and that you are willing to do what it takes to achieve it. It's about making the decision to put in the work, even when it's hard, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it's easier to take the easy way out. Because you know that the easy way is not the way to success. When you prioritize discipline over temporary pleasure, you set yourself up for a life that's filled with meaning, fulfillment, and success. You begin to see the bigger picture. You begin to understand that the sacrifices you make today are investments in your future. And you start to realize that every time you choose discipline, you're not just working toward your goals, you're building a life you can be proud of. You have to make the decision to rise above the urge for instant pleasure. You have to remind yourself that it's okay to say no to things that won't help you grow. You have to train yourself to make decisions that will lead to your success, even if it means sacrificing comfort or enjoyment in the moment. Because every time you choose discipline, you're choosing the life you want to live. It's time to stop letting the distractions of today derail you from your future. It's time to make discipline a non-negotiable part of your life. Because when you prioritize discipline, you don't just build success, you build the life you've always dreamed of. And that, my friend, is worth every sacrifice you make along the way. Number 10, push through the hard moments to grow stronger today. You have to push through the hard moments. And let's be clear, those moments will come. They always do. It's not a question of if you'll face adversity or difficult times. It's when, and when that time comes, you have two choices. You can let it knock you down, or you can rise, dig deeper, and push through. The difference between the people who succeed and those who don't isn't always talent or luck. It's about resilience, perseverance, and the ability to push through when things get tough. That's where real growth happens. In the middle of the struggle, we all face moments that test us. Maybe you're working toward a big goal, and it seems like no matter what you do, you're not getting anywhere. Maybe you're feeling tired, overwhelmed, or just downright defeated. Maybe the task at hand feels too big, the road too long, and the obstacles too many. That's when you'll be tempted to give up, to throw in the towel, to take the easy way out. But I'm telling you right now, that's when you need to push hardest. Because it's in these moments that you grow stronger. It's when you don't quit that you find out what you're really made of. Listen, no one ever grows without going through some kind of difficulty. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens when you push past your limits, when you force yourself to keep going even when every part of you wants to stop. It's in those hard moments, the moments when you feel like you can't go on, that you're actually building the strength, the character, and the determination you need to succeed. Growth isn't about avoiding difficulty. It's about facing it head on and using it to your advantage. Think about it. Every time you push through a tough moment, you're building your mental toughness. You're strengthening your ability to handle challenges, to keep going when the road gets rough, to stay focused when everything around you seems to be falling apart. You're building a muscle, your mental muscle, and just like physical muscles, the more you use them, the stronger they get. The more you push through, the more you prove to yourself that you're capable of doing hard things. And when you prove that to yourself, you set a new standard for what you're able to accomplish. The truth is, no one achieves anything significant without facing hardships along the way. The most successful people in the world didn't get to where they are by avoiding the tough moments. They got there by pushing through them. They didn't let setbacks define them. They didn't let failures or challenges hold them back. They kept going, even when things got tough. And you can do the same. But here's the catch. You have to be willing to embrace the hard moments. You have to be willing to lean into the discomfort and the struggle, because that's where the growth is. That's where the magic happens. It's easy to stay on the sidelines, to watch others push forward, to wish for things to be easier. But nothing worth having comes easy. If you want to build the kind of life you dream of, you have to be willing to do the work, to endure the challenges, to push through the hard times. I know it's not easy. I know it feels like too much at times. I know there are days when you just want to quit. But think about the person you want to become. Think about the goals you're working toward. Think about the impact you want to make in this world. Those things are worth fighting for. The strength you build by pushing through those hard moments is the strength that will carry you to your next level. When you choose to keep going, even when it feels like the world is against you, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. Every successful person has faced moments of doubt, of fear, of exhaustion. But what sets them apart is that they didn't let those moments define them. They didn't let those moments determine their fate. They pushed through. They kept going. And that's what you need to do too. You need to understand that hard moments are not signs that you should give up. They are signs that you're on the right path. When things get tough, it means you're pushing your limits. It means you're moving forward. It means you're growing. It's when things are easy that you should worry. When everything is going smoothly, you're probably not challenging yourself enough. You're probably not growing. The tough moments, that's where the growth is. That's where you become stronger, more resilient, more capable. But here's the truth. Growth is uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. If it were easy, everyone would do it. If it were easy, no one would have to push through anything. But it's the discomfort, the challenge, and the adversity that shape you. The growth happens when you push through those difficult moments. When you stay focused, when you stay committed to your goals, no matter how hard it gets. And when you do that, you come out the other side stronger, more confident, and more capable of handling whatever comes next. Now let's get real. It's easy to talk about pushing through tough moments when everything is going well. It's easy to say you're going to rise above challenges when you're not facing any. But when those tough times hit, when you're exhausted, discouraged, and ready to quit, that's when it counts. That's when you have to dig deep. That's when you have to remind yourself of your why. You have to remember why you started this journey in the first place. You have to remember the bigger picture, the life you want to create, the person you want to become. When you push through the hard moments, you're not just pushing through for the sake of it, you're doing it for your future. You're doing it for the person you want to be, for the success you want to achieve, for the impact you want to make. Every time you push through, you're getting one step closer to that future. Every time you keep going, even when you don't feel like it, you're proving to yourself that you are capable of greatness. So the next time you face a challenge, don't back down. Don't shrink away from the discomfort. Embrace it. Step into it. Push through it. Because it's in those moments that you are growing stronger, building resilience, and setting yourself up for the success you desire. It's in those moments that you show yourself just how strong you really are. And when you do that, there's no limit to what you can achieve. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. So don't stop now. Keep going. You've got this.